think of it. 4 years ago, we were so respected to a point where
All right,
when I said
back
don't
on,
buy
back
oil, they
on.
didn't buy oil. But they had no money,
Yeah.
and Israel was
Late to the
never
show, but
going to
ready to
back.
go. Let's get it.
Zero chance. And again, I said to Vladimir Putin, I said, don't do it. You can't do it, Vladimir. You do it, it's going to be a bad day. You cannot do it. And I told him things that what I do, and he said, no way. And I said, way. And it's the last time we ever had the conversation.
Way.
He would never have done. I got along well with him. I hope to get along well with him again. Getting along well with them is a good thing, not a bad thing. I got along well with Kim Jong-un. When I met with President Obama just before entering, it's a sort of a ritual. And I sat down with him and we talked. It was supposed to be for a very short period of time. It turned out to be a long period of time. I said, what's the biggest problem? He said, North Korea. I had that problem worked out very quickly. It was nasty at the beginning with Rocket Man and, all the different things.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden I got a call.
Those were some epic tweets, by the way.
Yeah, they were. No, they were epic everything. He said that he has a red button on his desk. I said,
epic everything.
I have a red button on my desk too, but my red button is much bigger and my red button works. And then I called him Little Rocket Man, Little Rocket Man. Anyway, here's the bottom line. All of a sudden, I got a call from him.
How can you not like Trump, man?
And they said they want to meet. They want to meet me. And we met.
Beyond me. How can you not like him?
We met in Singapore. We met also in Vietnam.
Brainwashing.
I got along with him great. We were in no danger. But President Obama thought we were going to end up in a war. A nuclear war with him. And let me tell you, he's got a lot of nuclear stuff, too.
Exactly.
He's got plenty of nuclear. He can do plenty of damage. So
yes, I mean it's because people like Kim Jong-un.
Hey, Durden, what's going on, man?
Well,
he and I had a good
relationship. Remember I met him and we walked onto his land. Nobody ever walked onto his land before. I walked onto. I wouldn't say. Let's bring up Secret Service again. I wouldn't say they were thrilled when I did that. I walked onto his land, and it was an amazing period. But we were not in danger with him because of me. I always say that we have enemies on the outside and we have enemies on the inside. We have some really bad people in our government and people that are controlling of the people. I mean, I'd mention names, but I really don't want to give them the credit. But we have some really bad, and I say they're more dangerous than Russia and China. If you have a smart president, a president that gets it, we are not in danger from those countries because they need us and they need our help. I mean, we forced Obama, if you think about it, Obama and Biden, and Bush to a certain extent, in all fairness, forced Russia and China together. And if you're a history student, the first thing you learn is you cannot let Russia and China align. But then they also got, if you take
they still couldn't take us down even if they did.
And
but
they have North Korea.
You don't take countries down with military power anymore. It's more about economic power.
Of evil. Here we have a modern day axis of evil. These are powerful countries, very heavy nuclear, which is the biggest threat. Yeah. The biggest threat is not global warming, where the ocean's going to rise 1/8 of an inch over the next 400 years. And you'll have more oceanfront property, right? The biggest threat is not that. The biggest threat is nuclear warming, because we have 5 countries now that have significant nuclear power, and we have
nuclear warming. That's a new one.
Anything to happen with stupid people like Biden. Biden did something with Russia. There was no chance.
That's exactly right, Durden.
When I left,
glorified side chick.
After I left,
that's exactly right, man.
Big armies on the border with Ukraine, right? And I looked at that. And I thought he was doing that because Putin's a good negotiator. I thought he was doing that to negotiate. But then Biden started saying such stupid things. For instance, he said that it can be a NATO country. Now, Russia, for as long as there's been NATO, has said we're never going to agree to that. And we go right up front and say that. And we did things and said things through this president with a low IQ, very low IQ. He had a low IQ 30 years ago, by the way, but now he might not even have the IQ at all. There's nothing on the board that goes this low. He said things that were so stupid that war had zero chance of happening if I were there. Zero chance. He was saying everything the opposite. And it's so sad because many more people have been killed in Ukraine than you read about. You don't read about how bloody it is and how disastrous.
Yeah,
hey,
man.
Look, just in the two armies, you lost
the
half
one
a
chick.
million people.
No, the
and you know, Ukraine's having a hard time.
what was his
Ukraine,
name?
I don't know.
Willie Brown.
The
Willie Brown. The Judge Willie Brown. He talks all about this in his interviews about how Kamala is just a blood-sucking parasite, latching onto any powerful man that she can, just to go ahead and suck the influence from him.
They're a big fighting force, and it's very unfair. And Ukraine now doesn't.
Dude,
have
I didn't even see this. Elon posted
young men and very old men
6 hours ago. He put
and
Donald Trump is back on X. Somebody whispering in someone's ear. That hair's going back up. That's amazing.
A smart president could have stopped that. It wouldn't have happened. But we had a man that actually made it. It made it more prevalent. It was so bad. The word.
Hey, are you guys able to hear Trump and Musk talking?
Coming from a stupid face.
Go ahead and let me know in the chat. Are you able to hear that?
I said, this guy's going to cause us a war. He's going to cause us. And let me tell you, it can lead to World War III. That can lead to World War III. The Middle East can lead to. We have numerous places that could end up in a World War III right now for no reason whatsoever.
I think you're right. I think people underrate the
She
risk
succeeded
of
her way to
III.
the top. That's exactly right, man.
You know, when looking at
Biden doesn't remember he got sucked off by her.
Warfare, it's game over for humanity, and you know it's something that people have. I think after the end of the Cold War, people have become complacent about. But
she probably gave him COVID.
That there are
that's what I think.
A lot of
she probably gave him COVID.
missiles that have targeting parameters for the United States from
100%.
other countries.
And one of the things we're going to do is we're going to build an Iron Dome over us. Israel has it. We're going to have the best Iron Dome.
He's Iron Manning of the United States.
We're going to make it all in the United States, but we're going to have protection, because it just takes one maniac to start something. We're going to have protection, and we're going to have. Why shouldn't we have an Iron Dome? Israel has one.
A suit of armor around the United States. That's a hell of a concept.
But, Israel has it. We're going to have an Iron Dome. But with all of that being said, to me that's so important, the most important. But with all of that being said, the election's coming up, and the people want to hear about the economy and the fact that they can't buy groceries because they don't have enough money to buy groceries. The inflation has killed them. Food prices are up 50, 60, even 100% in some cases. And this stupid administration allowed this to happen, and it's a shame. And that's
really?
the thing
Only
that people
stops
most
5%?
care about, in my opinion. They care about the border a lot. And we discussed the border at great length. It's nice to have a forum like this where I can discuss something at length. And by the way,
the United States was more innovative. They'll probably do something different with it. They probably wouldn't do exactly what they did. They probably do something a little bit more different.
They don't need Elon screaming out questions.
We'll see.
It's pretty sad when you think that somebody that does this for a living can't answer a question or is afraid to do an interview. And in her case, with a very friendly interview, she's got all friendly interviewers. It's pretty sad.
Absolutely.
But the big thing now is the economy, Elon.
Yeah, this is what I saw in here.
I mean, I view
Donald
nuclear
Trump
as the single most important thing.
Because Elon posted this.
A lot of people don't understand that, but it doesn't have to. If I understand it, that's all you need. Because if I was president,
fucking hilarious,
you're not going to have that kind of a problem.
Oh my God.
The thing that they really is making them angry is what Kamala and Biden have allowed to happen to the economy. It's a disaster with inflation. The inflation, it doesn't matter what you make. The inflation has eaten you alive. If you're a worker or if you're just a middle income person, you can't afford. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, people were saving a lot of money. Today, they're using all their money and borrowing money just to live. It's a horrible thing that's happening. And we'll end that quickly.
Well, I think a lot of,
check this out.
A lot of people
Nick Fuentes posted this. No war with Iran. Israel is dragging us to war. America first. Most Americans oppose sending U.S. troops to defend Israel. Poll finds.
If the government spends far more
So Trump is, from what I understand, he doesn't want war. Like he wants to end it with negotiations and strong arming the guy. Like, hey man, you start this shit, we're gonna just annihilate you. You don't want that. We don't want that. Just stop. And that will get them to stop in most instances, and then plus any Trump card, quote unquote Trump cards he's got. But the military-industrial complex won't let that happen. That's why they killed Kennedy, man. He wanted to get out from Vietnam way before we actually got out. He wanted to stop it, so they offed his ass. That's why they try to off Trump, because he wants to stop these wars.
It's on the order of $1 trillion.
It's interest,
and it keeps
Yeah,
growing.
So it makes total sense why that assassination happened. You best believe they're going to try again.
We had jets, we had fighters that were, and bombers that were 70 years old, and we did a great job in that. Then by the way, we gave 85 billion of it back to Afghanistan, if you can believe it. We gave them 85 billion. You know, they're one of the largest sellers of military equipment in the world.
The fake
that was one of the most
the fake AI crowds, dude. I saw a picture of that. Let me see if I can't bring that up, because I know I liked that on X.
Go back to the
a little while ago. I was like, that is fucking insane, bro.
Energy started it.
Let me see if I can find it.
Gasoline. Now your cars don't require too much gasoline, so you know you have a good, and you do make a great product.
That was insane. Like, some guy's face was all jangled up. Some guy had 4 arms in the picture.
But these are minor details. But your product is incredible. But the gasoline, Elon, is the cost of energy. Not only gasoline, it's the cost of heating your house and cooling your house. That has to come down. It's gone up 100%, 150, and 200%, and that has to come down. When that comes down, and we're going to drill, baby, drill. You know, they stopped drilling, and then they went back to drilling because they went back to the Trump policy. But if they won the day after they get into office, we're gonna. This country will go out of
like
business
crazy on X.
They're gonna go to an
Man, you want to follow me? Follow me on X. I've been active.
And different
I didn't realize how much I've been active on this.
And I know you're a big fan of the AI, and I have to say that AI, and this is shocking to me, but AI requires twice the energy that the country already produces for everything. So you're going to have to build. We're going to have to build a lot of energy if our country will be competitive with China, because that's our primary competitor for this on the AI. You're going to need a lot of electricity. You're going to need tremendous electricity, like almost double what we produce now for the whole country, if you can believe it.
Sure. Well, just going back to this.
He kind of blew past that one.
Basic thing, which that people try to make it sound complicated, but it's not. But inflation is caused by government overspending. Right. Would you agree that we need to take a look at government spending and have perhaps a government efficiency commission that just tries to make the spending sensible, and so the country lives within its means, just like a person does?
The waste is incredible, and nobody negotiates prices. You used to have a lot of people making jets, and you end up with 2 companies, and they'll probably try and merge at some point. I mean, I went through it, like Air Force, just a thing like Air Force One. One of the first documents they asked me to sign, a general said, "Sir, would you please sign this document?" And what is it? Air Force One. That's with Boeing, which is basically 2 planes, 2 747s. And the price was $5.7 billion for 2 planes. Now, they're highly sophisticated. They're even nicer than your plane, okay? But much more sophisticated. They're I won't say what's on it, but they got a lot of stuff on it. Anyway, but it's 5.7.
That's a crazy number.
It's a crazy number, but I said, I'm not going to pay 5.7. I'm not going to do it. I said, who made the deal?
Here's the image right here. You can see the guy with the 2 freaking noses right here on this side. And this guy's face is all jumbled up on the just above him. This woman has like a huge eye
$1.6 billion
to the left of him.
Exact same plane, other than
and then the guy on the bottom picture, on the bottom right, you can't really see it. Hold on.
Same plane. I saved one, and I said to Boeing, "Man, you guys must make a lot of money if you can reduce the price by that." But now what I do hear is that they're going back to the Biden administration.
Right there. You see that guy right there on the bottom right screen?
You know, because they
on that picture? He's got 3 hands, dude. One across the other arm, and then one clutching his hands. It's like, what the hell, dude?
And you can now
got Goro.
And multiply that.
Mama's got Goro on her side. Fucking crazy.
Yeah, the numbers are astronomical. I agree with you.
Well, I mean, I think it would be great to just have a government efficiency commission that takes a look at these things and just ensures that the taxpayer money.
JFK was also stopping their nuclear plans. Oh yeah, dude. Yeah,
in a good way.
With Iran and all that stuff.
And I'd be happy to help out on such a commission.
I'd love
yeah,
it.
like Obama's whole payment plan to Iran was like I heard. I don't know if this is true. This is unconfirmed. This is potentially what happened. Is that Obama was sending millions and billions of dollars to Iran to keep quiet because supposedly Osama bin Laden's still alive, and they didn't kill him.
Congratulations! I just looked at the number of people.
And they were like, "Yeah, we know you didn't kill him. We have evidence. You better send us money, or else we're gonna we're gonna rat your ass out to the American people."
And you're an interesting character. You know, the new head of a place called Argentina, and he's a big, you know, he's great, and he's a big MAGA fan. You know that he ran on MAGA, and he took it to an extreme too. He ran on MAGA, and I hear he's doing really a terrific job. It's called Make Argentina Great Again. It worked out perfectly. He came in, he bought a lot of hats, he brought everything, but he's doing a big job. He really cut. And I'm hearing they're starting to do pretty well. Inflation's getting down. You know, they had like 2,000%. They had inflation like not normal inflation. They had the real deal. But we're going to have that pretty soon. I think we have the worst inflation we've had in 100 years. They say it's 48 years. I don't believe it. I think we have the worst. They don't include a lot of the items that should be included.
Where's the inflation right now, isn't it? Yeah. It's like close to what? It's like past 11%.
Government overspending and not spending taxpayer money effectively, and having just many departments you can't even name them all. And what Milei is doing is, he's cutting government spending.
This is bullshit. This is from Google. It's saying it's only at 3%. That's bullshit.
That make sense.
This is a significant drop at 9.1% peak in 2022. That's a fucking lie, bro. What is this? What are they judging this off of?
For the United States, which is
what, from like last month? It was a 6% drop.
Countries in the world, in the 30s, 40s, and because of bad government policy, it ruined the country. And if you take Venezuela, for example, Venezuela should be incredibly prosperous. They have phenomenal reserves of everything, oil, everything, and it should be prosperous. But if the government's wrong, it impoverishes the people. And so I think
this is from the U.S. inflation calculator. It's only 3%. Get the fuck out of here. No one believes that shit.
If with bad government policy, we can run the country into the ground, and that's just something people should bear in mind. Don't take prosperity for granted.
Well, think of education. So we're ranked at the bottom of every list.
Yeah, who believes that inflation's at 3% right now? Who believes that shit?
Norway, Switzerland, Sweden, different countries are ranked good. Actually, China's pretty close to the top. They're a top 6 or 7. But we're ranked at the bottom, almost at the bottom, 38, 39, 40. In other words, horrible. And yet we spend more per pupil than any other country in the world. So we spend more.
Raise your hand if you're listening to Elon Musk right now. I'm raising my hand.
This is where I need an Elon Musk. I need somebody that has a lot of strength and courage and smarts. I want to close up Department of Education, move education back to the states, where states like Iowa, where states like Idaho,
this is a huge got. This is a huge got right here. If Trump gets into office, he's gonna move education back to the states and make it like charter schools and private tier. Fuck, dude. Teacher unions are gonna go ballistic.
I would bet
government lives off that shit.
Great, and 15 of them.
They can't let that happen, man.
20.
Like the education system's gonna get way better. Teachers are gonna be held accountable. No more protections under the union crap. For me, anyways, dude, I think a lot of unions are useless. Me personally, I think they're useless. I think they're cash grabs. It's essentially communism in a sense, man.
States that have low taxes, no debt.
And I'm saying, like,
they're really well
some of them are good, but not all of them. I think most of them are crap.
In terms of the land or the sun and the water and the whole thing. There are a lot of advantages that some people have. But if you moved education back to the 50, you'll have some that won't do well, but they'll actually be forced to do better because it'll be a pretty bad situation. But if you think about it, you'll have some of these states. I'll bet you'd have 30, 35 states It'll be much better. And you know what it'll cost? Less than half what it is in Washington. And these people don't care about the students in these, faraway states. And it'd be unbelievable.
Yeah. I think you're making a good point in that if the states have to if each state has to compete against other states, then people will naturally move to states where it's better.
Well, like California, as we said, it's a
Trump, talk about the state.
I could
talk
go
about
through,
Cali.
I got so many friends that are in those states. Even if they're Democrats, I hate
shit sty that we got going on here.
But Illinois is badly run with Pritzker. He's a real loser. But some of these places are just badly run. But it's almost going to force them to run better, and they won't do it good initially. But you're not going to do worse than you're doing right now. And I would say that the cost, you would cut your cost by 50 or 60%. And you'd have a little monitor. You want to make sure they're teaching English as an example. Give us a little English, right?
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. No, but I mean, too much. I mean, some of these governors are doing.
Yeah, just like the documentary that you put me towards, Durden.
They should get
is that they're basically trying to dry up the United States for all that it's got, and then just let it blow away in the wind into nothing.
Isn't it amazing to you as a business?
They're trying to let it die.
They can even survive, like Illinois.
But I think they're going even further than that. I think they're trying to. I think they're trying to choke out the United States industry and
California, and
make it go bankrupt. That's why they can come in, buy it, and then come in and then soak up all the reresources that we got. That's why we're not drilling oil right now. That's why the government officials aren't allowing drilling and stonewalling all of the oil contracts in order to be able to drill. I think it's we're on a gold mine, like Trump says, and they don't want to drill because they want to keep it for all the countries that are going to come and buy territory after America essentially declares bankruptcy on the world.
You wonder, how do they continue to just go
That's
on?
my own theory, though. I'm not sure if anybody else shares.
I think the only thing that's going to force some of these states to change.
Get rid of Dem Boys sponsored history books? Yeah, dude.
Right. Well,
the winners decide what history gets passed on, essentially. So, yeah, I'm up for that.
Somebody had sticky fingers and they stole a lot of money. And they went into a form of chapter. And it was very nasty for a period of time, but now it's probably the most popular place in all of California. So at some point, something like that may have to happen. But the problem is you can't penalize people that loan money to the state when you have incompetent people like a Pritzker. Look, the family didn't want him in the family business, and then he ends up being governor of Illinois. So what is he going to be? Is he going to be a great governor? And you have people. I could name every one of them. I got to know every one of these, and some are very good, and some are just horrible.
Well, I think that the larger point here, too, as you're saying, a lot of people are concerned about the economy. A lot of people are concerned about inflation, and inflation is effectively a tax on people that save
Dem
money.
Boys buy up all the rich soil and resell without mineral rights, so they get mine resources even after selling.
Solve the government spending problem.
Yeah, exactly. That's what BlackRock and some of these bigger corporations are doing right now. They're buying up a bunch of land, especially farmland. Because you own a country's breadbasket, you pretty much have them by the balls.
The people that saved money.
That's why you got that huge uproar over there. I think it's in Idaho.
Frankly, they were almost
all the farmers in Idaho are pretty much doing like a Canada protest.
Bring those people back and help those people. We've got to get the prices down.
The trailers.
When I look at bacon costing
see if I can bring
4
that
or
up.
5 times more than it did a few years ago. When you look at some of the food products in grocery stores, people they can't believe it. They used to be able to buy a whole cart, and today, a lot of people just don't have the money. They go in and they can't buy anything. They look at it's sticker shock. They call it sticker shock, right?
Yeah, right here.
I think it really just comes.
Idaho farmer protest has made mainstream media. Idaho's governor coming face to face with angry East Idaho farmers and their tractors as they look to show him the state's water curtailment laws. A massive show of force. What are you seeing? There was over 120. Yeah, man. Farmers are sick of it, dude. I didn't even know this was really happening until a year or so ago. That the government's actually telling farmers that, hey, we own the water in your land because of some bullshit about the depth of the wells Or like if the water in your well is above a certain height, then that's like the government owned water. It's like, what the fuck? Like they own the land, and yet the government's coming over there and telling them, no, that's actually not yours. That's ours.
Elon, those two things, yeah, those are the big deals.
We set a record. We did more deregulation and more restrictions on all of the different businesses than any other president. Remember, I had the rule for every one we put in, you have to get rid of 10 or 12. And we did radical cuts on all of that. And a lot of that's being put back by this administration. And we did radical cuts on things that weren't necessary. But we were all set. You know, we had the best economy ever maybe in the world.
And this is the point that they keep attacking Trump on. Oh, he cut taxes and regulations for the rich. But what they're not saying is that, oh yeah, he cut regulations so people that are going from the ground up, it makes it easier for them to build up their own business and get some revenue so they can become rich. And now like there's a true middle class, not like the fucking failing one that we got right now, which pretty much doesn't even really exist. Because the middle class is, I forget what it's like upward of $150,000 or something like that. That's when you're in the middle class. And like hardly anybody is in there. Like the mass majority is below that in the poverty area. So yeah. Yeah, these fucking Democrats don't want anybody to be prosperous because they have to rely on the government. And that's what they ultimately want. That's what communism is. That's what dictatorship, authoritarians are. They want you relying on the government, so they got you by the balls. So you have to concede to whatever they say.
We're sitting on
fuck that, man.
The biggest pile of liquid gold anywhere in the world, bigger than Saudi Arabia, bigger than Russia. And we were going to drill, and we were going to.
If I find something on my land, it's mine. That's a scam. Yeah, dude, exactly.
The Russian pipeline, and we were going to supply them with oil and gas. We were going to make a fortune, and then the COVID came in, and we really had to divert. Then what happened is
the government has essentially become a fucking Negan from The Walking Dead. It's like, you owe me tribute. No, I don't. Fuck you.
But the problem is when Biden came
you got to become a bunch of Rick Grimes in this bitch.
Trillions of dollars and just started spending it stupidly. You didn't need it anymore. You know, we got over that bad period where everybody was dying and feeling, it was just not a good period. Interestingly, during his administration, many more people died during his administration of COVID than during my administration.
That's true. That is true. Like months after Biden came into office, they stopped the count. Did anybody notice that? After 2020, like a few months after Biden took office, they stopped doing that stupid COVID death count because it was reaching in the tens of millions of people, and they were like, "Oh fuck, we can't have this. We can't have the." The guy that we installed to be president to look bad, so we gotta stop this shit. No, it's all good now. War in Ukraine, pay attention to that. Fuck it. That might have been why they started the war in Ukraine. They're like, we need something else. Ukraine. We're gonna usher you into NATO, and that pissed off Russia enough for them to attack.
All of the great colleges, Harvard, they were doing better, and people without a diploma were doing better, and everybody was happy. And then COVID came, and we had the problem is they spent trillions and trillions of dollars. They wasted. They shouldn't have taken any money, and we wouldn't be having inflation right now, which is killing our country.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I should probably say something about maybe my views on climate change and oil and gas.
Okay, here we go.
Because I think it's probably different from what most people would assume. Because my views are actually pretty, I think, moderate in this regard, which is that I don't think we should vilify the oil and gas industry and the people that have worked very hard in those industries to provide the necessary energy to support the economy. And if we were to stop using oil and gas right now, we would all be starving, and the economy would collapse.
That's exactly right.
So it's I don't think it's right to sort of vilify.
Yeah, nothing to substitute for it.
And I
solar energy and wind power isn't enough.
Demand for oil and gas, and it's probably better if the United States provides that than some other countries. Sure. And it would help with prosperity in the U.S.
Oh, definitely. How do you think fucking Venezuela got so rich so quick?
We do over time want to move to a sustainable energy economy, because eventually you do run out of. You run out of oil and gas. It's not there. It's not infinite. And there is some risk. I think the risk is not as high as a lot of people say it is with respect to global warming, but I think if you just keep increasing the parts per million in the atmosphere long enough, eventually it actually simply gets uncomfortable to breathe. People don't realize this. If you go past 1,000 parts per million of CO2, you start getting headaches and nausea. And so we're now in the sort of 400 range. We're adding, I think, about roughly 2 parts per million per year. So I mean, it still gives us. So what it means is like we still have quite a bit of time, but so there's not like we don't need to rush, and we don't need to like stop farmers from farming, or prevent people from having steaks or basic stuff like that. Like you can leave the farmers alone.
I agree.
Oh,
How
yeah,
crazy
yeah,
is that where
yeah.
you have
To have
farmers
penis
that are not
piano
allowed
playing
to farm
President Men
anymore,
in Black,
have to get rid of their
brainwipe the
cattle,
public
and
of COVID.
the whole
Yeah,
world
dude.
is
Yeah,
a
that's
little
silly.
crazy. But
The
it's
problem is that a
largely
lot of people
taken
just
its
don't care
lead
enough.
from us.
That's the
I
problem. A
just
lot of
say,
people
though,
just
I've
don't
heard
care enough to pay
in terms
attention.
of the
And
fossil
even if they
fuels,
do, they're just like,
because
I don't
even
care.
to
Like, that was old news,
create
whatever.
your electric
Yeah, my
car
life
and
was
create
miserable
the
at that one
electricity
part, but that
needed for
part's
the
over.
electric car, fossil
They're
fuel is what
bleed
really
blue no
creates
matter
that in the
who.
generating
Like,
plants. And
there's true sheep in
so
this
you sort of
world,
can't
and
get
the
away
vast
from it
majority of
at this
people are
moment. I
sheep.
mean, someday you might be able
It's pretty
to.
sad, but
But
it's
I
the
do
truth.
hear we have anywhere from 100 to 500 years left. Much of
I
it
mean,
hasn't
like,
even been found yet.
Yeah.
But there are tremendous, like Anwar. I got
I mean, you just
Anwar
look
in
at the
Alaska
border,
approved.
you look at the
Ronald
inflation
Reagan
and
couldn't
stuff
do
like
it.
that, and
Nobody could do
Kamala's
it.
all saying, "Oh, I'm
Everybody
gonna fix it, I'm
tried.
gonna fix
Nobody
it."
could
I'm
do it. I
like,
got it approved.
bitch, you're the one
The
that caused
first
it.
thing that
You caused all
Biden
these
did was
problems, and now you're saying you're
unimprove
gonna
it,
fix it, and all these people are like,
get
"Yeah,
rid of it.
she's gonna fix
He
it." It's
ended
like,
it.
are you guys not all paying
His
attention
secretary
that she was
went in
part of
and
the
she
administration
ended
that
it.
caused all these
And
problems? She
what
was
a
right next to the guy.
That's Anwar.
They lied
That's
to you for
bigger,
years,
or
saying that
they
he was
think it
competent
could
when he
be bigger
wasn't.
than Saudi
They all
Arabia in
freaking
Alaska.
brainwashed
Could be
themselves,
bigger than
and
Saudi Arabia.
Men in
But
Black
they went in and they
flashed
terminated
themselves
it,
out
and I'll
of
get it going very quickly because
their memories
not
out of
only
that
is it
one.
big for Alaska, I
But
mean,
they
you
just
talk
don't
about
care enough,
economic
man.
development. That for
They
the
flow
United
wherever the
States,
wind
I mean,
blows. That's
that
exactly what a Democrat
they say
is. They flow
bigger
with the
than
wind.
Saudi Arabia or
Whatever
the same size.
virtuous
And
signal,
pure, really
virtue
good
signaling
stuff.
they can go ahead and get
And
their hands on,
they
they'll
ended.
hold on to
So
it
I
for
think
dear
we
life
have,
until the next one blows
perhaps
along. Then they
hundreds
go
of years
along with
left.
that one.
Nobody really knows. But
I like the
during
analogy
that,
of
during that time,
a Democrat
somebody
is
will come
basically
around and be very
they're a
good.
person on a raft in the ocean, and they're going wherever
my estimate would be,
wherever
a
the
little
waves are
more
taking them. Doesn't matter.
aggressive than
Wherever
that, but it's not the sort
the
of like
ocean
you're all
wants them
gonna
to
die in
go, that's
5
where they're
years
going
stuff.
until
That's
a
obviously
storm
BS.
hits, and then they get capsized.
But
Then they
my
care.
view is like if you just
And then
look
they're
at sort of
asking for
parts
the
per million,
Republicans that are on the
that
big oil
increments
ship
every
for
year,
help.
and you get sort of
Fuck
2
you.
or 3 parts per million every year of CO2.
I mean, we would help them
I mean,
in a
I
sense.
think some of that it's problematic if it accelerates. If you start going from 2 or 3 to say 5, and then there may be some situations where you get just a step change increase in the CO2, and I think we don't want to get too close to 1,000 ppm because like that's actually makes it uncomfortable to breathe. Like just existing in 1,000 ppm CO2 is uncomfortable. That's like that's considered like an industrial hazard.
Right.
Just so it's that's actually you start getting headaches and stuff. So it's even without global warming, it's not comfortable to live. So you don't want to get too close to that. But I mean, I think we've got. I think we want to just move over and if I don't know 50 to 100 years from now we're I don't know mostly sustainable. I think that'll probably be okay.
All right. I'm surprised Musk hasn't brought up nuclear power.
The house is on fire immediately, but I think it is something we need to move towards. And on balance, it's probably better to move there faster than slower. But like I said, without vilifying the oil and gas industry, and without causing hardship in the short term, I think this can be done. Without people can still have a stake, and they can still drive gasoline cars, and it's okay. It's like it's not. I don't think we should vilify people for it, but I think we should just generally lean in the direction of sustainability. I actually think solar is going to be a majority of Earth's energy generation in the future, and it's certainly trending that way. And so you get the solar power, combine that with batteries, so because obviously the sun doesn't shine at night, and then you use that to charge the electric cars, and you have a long-term sustainable solution. And that's what Tesla's trying to move things towards, and I think we've made a lot of progress in that regard. But when you look at our
It's not
cars,
viable enough right now,
we
man.
don't believe
Sorry to say, it's not viable at the moment.
that caring about the environment should mean that you have to suffer. So we make sure that our cars are beautiful, that they drive well, that they're fast, they're sexy. I mean, they're cool. In fact, literally, I made this sexy joke: Model S, Model 3, Model X, and Y spells out sexy. It's probably the most expensive joke out there. But I don't know. I like cheesy humor, So, but I'm a big fan of, like, let's have an inspiring future, and let's work towards a better future, and we do so without demonizing people.
Right. I'm okay. It's very interesting. You use the word global warming, and today they use the word climate change because you have some places that go up, and so they were getting themselves in a little trouble with the word global warming, because not every place is warming. Some places are going the opposite direction. But I'm sort of waiting for you to come up with solar panels on the roofs of your cars and on the trunks of the cars, and it just seems like something that at some point you will come up with. I'm sure you'll be the first. But it would seem that a solar panel on the roofs, on flat surfaces, on certain surfaces might be good.
Yeah.
At least in certain areas of the country where you have the world, sure, where you have the sun. But I would think, and I have no idea because that's not my world, but I would think that this would be something that would be interesting. But the one thing that I don't understand is that people talk about global warming or they talk about climate change, but they never talk about nuclear warming. And to me,
Sure,
that's an immediate problem because you have, as I
What
said,
about
5
nuclear power as a
countries where you
viable
have major
option? We
nuclear
can do more research into that,
probably some
man.
others are
That's an
getting
untapped,
there, and very
huge
dangerous.
field
That's
there.
where you need a strong American president because
We have nuclear-powered,
don't want to have this
aircraft
proliferation.
carriers.
But you have 5 countries and getting more. China is much less than us right now, but they're going to catch us sooner than people think. They're way lower. Russia and us are number 1, and I mean, we're sort of tied. And China is far behind, but they're developing at a level that you're not surprised to hear very fast. They'll end up catching up, maybe even surpassing. But to me, the biggest problem is not climate change. It's not, and everything's a problem, but it's degrees. To me, the big problem is the nuclear power. The power of nuclear is so great. And when I talk about I'll prevent World War III, I will. But the truth is that you have to, because this is no longer army tanks going back and forth and shooting at each other. This is a level of destruction and power that nobody's ever seen before.
Yeah, and actually, there's the bad side of nuclear, which is a nuclear war, very bad side. But there's also, I think, nuclear electricity generation is underrated.
You're right.
And it's actually, people have this fear of nuclear electricity generation, but it's actually one of the safest forms of electricity generation. It's just a huge misunderstanding. And if you look at the injuries and deaths,
Dude, this is what I don't like about solar power right here, man.
I'm not going to try to pick on
fucking Gavin Newsom's trying to pass off the same idea a few hours ago. Why is my electricity bill so expensive? It's not. Fuck you, Kevin Newsom, dude. Here in California, the electricity bill is insane. It went from, like, I live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and we moderately use electricity. I'm hardly ever here.
So that,
and like, it should be like $60 a month, if that. 60, 65, maybe even 70. It's like at $150 right now. It's insane. And I know a lot of I've seen posts of businesses that have gone up like 50%.
When you see what
it's insane.
It does have a branding problem.
When you see what happened in Japan, where they say you won't be able to go on the land for about 3,000 years. Did you ever see that? And in Russia, where they had the problem, where they
talked about Iran for 0.2 seconds.
Happen,
yeah, maybe they'll get back to it.
And they say that in 2,000 years, people will start to occupy the land again. You realize it's pretty bad.
No, that's not true.
But you're right.
Well, you got to remember too. This is just a conversation. It's not like a coordinated interview. I know I put that as the title, but it's not really an interview. It's more just like as a conversation like you would have with like a friend at a barbecue or some shit. There's basically 2 guys just talking
on TV to prove it.
2 powerful guys, mind you.
And I donated a solar water treatment, a solar powered system for a water treatment plant, And
yeah, but you haven't been feeling so well lately, and I'm worried about it.
No, but I mean,
I'm only kidding.
It's fine, you know. It's like Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombed, but now they're like full cities again. So
right.
it's
well,
really not something that
That's right.
So it's not as scary as people think, basically.
Yeah.
But
Oh, is he getting into it?
I mean, there's some other topics we should touch on. Like lawfare. I think we need to be concerned about
what they've done to this country.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we just won the big case in Florida. This was a Biden administration.
They won the case in New York too.
That's never been done.
Office of mishandlings of documents.
Opponent, me, with this nonsense and just nonsense. And the big case in Florida we won.
Yeah, the case in New York was thrown out.
A judge and a jury, and they used local DAs. They used the local attorney generals, like Fani. Fani, spelled Fani, Fani. And it's all a big hoax, and it's all run from there. Like in Manhattan, one of the top people from the Justice Department went in, ran Manhattan, ran the state. The Letitia James deal was run by a person from the Department of Justice, Biden. They've never done this before, and they set up a very bad precedent. It's called lawfare, warfare. It's a terrible thing, and never happened in our country. It does happen in banana republics and third world countries, but it's never happened. And the incredible thing is it actually drove my numbers up because people see.
Kamala's pissed, man. Check this out.
Like
I just saw this.
In all fairness, like a conversation like this.
Two worst people are live this evening. Harris Waltz. This is an official.
Because you're fighting for election
integrity. This is an official post by her campaign page.
The day comes that you can't fight for election integrity, you don't have a country anymore. So what happens? Happens is when after their political opponent, me, now Biden's,
Yeah, you'll definitely have a police state if the Democrats win this election.
Okay?
Definitely.
I looked at him today on the beach.
All under the guise of protection and security. These Magans, they're dangerous. We got to go in and surveil them. Oh, they live in your area? Sorry, we have to surveil you too. Just part of the gig, sorry.
So bad, and it's ridiculous. I mean, and he's been.
They're already doing it with all the small stuff. They're already trying to they just proposed a tax in California for internet.
And he can't.
An internet tax. They're trying to pass that. Get the fuck out of here. And they're going to try to tax you on how many miles that you drive with your electric car.
He's going to be worse than
Shit.
Because
you want to kill the electric car industry? That's how you fucking do it.
San Francisco, and then as Attorney General, she destroyed California. You talk about location, and we're talking about the sun and the water and all. There's nothing better than California. She has destroyed that. She was the original DA. She was the original in San Francisco. She was the original Attorney General in California. What she has done to California is, well, you know better than I do. You just left California for
lot
of those reasons. And what she's done with
Elon left because of the new law that was passed for transgenderism,
where you kill somebody,
to where if a transgender person is allowed to be in children's sports and be in their locker rooms and bathrooms and stuff, they just made that a law. They just passed a bill in California for that.
She is a radical left San Francisco
and no, that was old. The new one was that
she wants to be
that schools had the authority now to go ahead and
but she wants to be
to implement gender-affirming care without the parents' permission. That was the new law that was passed. That's what caused Musk to pull out of California completely.
That just came out today. She doesn't want to build the wall, even though the walls work. Walls and wheels. In your business, everything you do is obsolete. Almost, well, not the tunnels, but everything is obsolete. Even your rocket ships, they're like a month later, they're obsolete. You find a better way to. The only thing that's not obsolete is a wall and a wheel. And the wall, I built hundreds of miles of wall, and that's why we had such good numbers. I was going to add 200 miles. We bought it. We could have flipped it up in 3 weeks, and they sold it for 5 cents on the dollar. That meant, I said, wow, that means that they actually do want to have open borders. She wants to have open borders, and now
they sold the panels of the wall for 5 cents only,
it's such
or 5 cents to the dollar.
This is simply not true. This is simply not true.
No, and everybody knows it's not true. It's a disgrace that she can say it.
No, obviously, what's happening sort of overnight is they're rewriting history, and and making Kamala sound like a moderate when in fact she is far left, like far left.
Worse than Bernie Sanders. She is considered more liberal by far than Bernie
Check
Sanders.
out this
she's
photo
a
I just saw.
radical left lunatic, and if she's going to be our president,
these are the ones, guys. These are the ones right here. The Matrix 4. It should have started these two dudes right here. This is how Matrix 4 should have happened.
She believes in no fracking, zero. Now all of a sudden she's saying, no, I really want to see fracking. If they got in, the day she got in, she'll end fracking. And by the way, if people didn't think that, the lunatics that really believe in that, they won't vote for her. Like the Palestinians and Israel. She is so anti-Israel, and she's bad for both. Biden actually did something that was impossible. Both sides hate him. Both sides. That was a hard thing to do. Unification.
Yeah, no. I mean, Netanyahu came to give a talk to a joint Senate and House sitting, and I was there, and Kamala stood him up. What does that say?
I think it's highly disrespectful. And I say, if you're a Jewish person, or if you believe in Israel, if you're a person that is a very pro-Israel, if you vote for her, it's worse than Biden, and Biden was bad. But if you vote for her, you ought to have your head examined. And you see tonight, I mean, as we're doing this, I'm seeing reports coming that they expect an attack tonight or tomorrow from hundreds and maybe thousands of rockets. Their Iron Dome, as they call it, as we all call it, but their shield that they built, that can be swamped. We'll use the term that's appropriate, swamped. But
any system can be overrun.
Enough missiles,
definitely.
You know this better than anybody.
That's what you were talking about, Jordan, right? It only works 5% of the time.
Themselves. They just obliterate the whole place. And that's what some people think they're looking to do. And we have no leadership. There's no respect for the United States of America with these people. And I'm telling you, you'll be worse than him, because she's a believer in being radical left, and he wasn't.
Look at this. Trump reportedly refers to Harris as a bitch in private. Who does it, man? That just makes me like him more, dude. They just keep giving more and more reasons to love Trump. It's hilarious.
Is that a track record you agree with? And I think if you're an independent moderate, you definitely would not agree with it, because it is her behavior has been far left, and we're seeing just an overnight propaganda attempt to rewrite history and make it sound like Kamala's moderate when she in fact is not moderate.
Well, her running mate signed into legislation, tampons in boys' bathrooms. Okay,
now so that's disgusting.
All I have to hear. Tampons in boys' bathrooms, and that means she believes in that too. I mean, she picked this guy because he was the closest to her.
You know how many fucking tampons in the high schools, if that's the case, are going to be just like all over the place, and the guys are just going to be fucking with them the whole time?
But she is
Come on, man. Come on.
Worse, they say, than Bernie Sanders. If we have her as a president,
you're going to have like mentally broken individuals. The chicks trying to pretend to be men in guys' bathrooms, they're going to get mentally broken because of the shit that they're going to be doing with those tampons.
Frankly, with
Come
the
on, man.
administration, and that's my honest opinion. And I think really it's essential that you win for the good of the country for this election, and I'm just stating my opinion. Now, you may have seen this, but I got a letter from the EU Commission, like saying to not have disinformation on during this discussion that we're having, there's a lot of attempts.
I reposted that. Let me find it.
And to force censorship, even on Americans from other countries, and what do you think about that?
Well, I know the European Union very well. They take great advantage of the United States in trade, as you know. We, through a different forum, NATO, we protect them, and yet if you build a car in the United States, you can't sell it in Europe. You just can't sell it. It's impossible. The same thing with our farmers. Our farmers find it very difficult to do business. We have a deficit with them of $250 billion, which people don't know. It sounds so nice, the European Union, but let me tell you, they're not as tough as China, but they're bad. And I let them know it. and that's probably why they notified you. No, they don't treat our country well. We defend them, with Ukraine. So we're in for 250 billion, and they're
right
in
here,
for
it
about
is.
71 billion, and they have the same size. It's if you add up the European nations that in terms of an economy, it's about the same size.
To be honest, I really wanted to respond with Tropic Thunder Meme, but I'd never do something so rude and irresponsible.
Risk. They're right there.
Oh my God, dude! I love Elon. It's hilarious.
In this case, the enemy would be Russia. Used to be for the Soviet Union, but let's assume they're close enough.
But yeah, they did send a letter to Elon. I read it. It's basically saying, hey, don't do that interview. Don't don't talk bad about us and our policies, or we're going to come after you. That's essentially what the letter said.
It could be a lot higher than that.
And Elon's just like, fuck
you. Why aren't
you.
you going to equalize? Why aren't they paying what we're paying? And they're in much more, it's much more important for them because of the fact that, they're right near there. I mean, they're all sort of in that location. We're not. But they should, and I did it with NATO. There were only 7 countries that were paid up in NATO out of 28 at the time. And the United States the United States was subsidizing NATO, tremendously subsidizing NATO. And I said, I went in and I said,
where were we at? We were at like at 85% of NATO expenditures.
But you know what happened?
The U.S.?
Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in. And
I think a lot of the public isn't.
W Trump on NATO, definitely, man. Like, I think we should get NATO should have been disbanded when the Soviet Union collapsed. It shouldn't even exist right now.
Think about it.
NATO is essentially like a safety net for the warmongers and the people that benefit from industrial war to go ahead and just start something off. Kick something off new, and then the whole NATO is like, oh, we'll help you out, we'll funnel all this money laundering and shit.
I mean, honestly, look, there's nobody that feels worse about the Ukraine situation than I do because I know it would have never happened. I know Zelensky, he was very
just look at the Russia-Ukraine thing, man. They're treating Russia like a new, Third Reich Germany.
It was a great phone call. He could have grandstanded and, said, he was very threatening. He said, no, it was a very nice phone call. I called him up to congratulate him on his win, and you end up getting impeached because these people are lunatics. I was talking about the difference from the people within and the enemies on the outside. In many cases, the people from within are more dangerous for our country than the Russias and the Chinas. If you have a smart president, you're not going to have a problem with them. You're going to do things.
Yeah.
Now, they've taken advantage of us incredibly, but you're going to do things with the right person.
Yeah, well, I think it's obvious that you're a believer and an advocate of free speech because during your first term as president, you were attacked relentlessly every day, often very unfairly with false attacks, and
mainstream media, fake news, fake,
inhibit their freedom of speech, and I think that says a lot.
Well, the good thing is that you and I have, and some people, very few, we can get the word out. Although sometimes it's hard because they don't want to print it, like we're having a great conversation right now.
Yeah, that's how you know Trump is old. They won't print it.
He's not smart.
Yeah, it's no longer print, sir. It's they're posting now.
He can't have this conversation. And Biden, we don't even have to talk about it. I mean, he couldn't have this conversation. He would have given up on the first half of a question. He would have walked out. He would have said, "Where am I? Where am I going?" So anyway, but no, he wouldn't have this.
That's true.
Not a lot.
He's gonna be shaking hands with ghosts like he usually does.
But the beauty is that we can have a conversation, and I'm able to get it out without because I get treated unfairly.
This is a really big point. You can actually have a conversation with you.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
And you can't have a conversation with Biden or Kamala. It's like it's not possible.
That's
so this is like
no, Kamala would have said significant at least 10,000 times in this hour that they've been talking. They've been talking for over an hour.
Unbelievably sharp in order to stop all the nuclear danger and all the dangers that I'm talking about. And I got along with all these. I got along with Kim Jong-un. We had dinner. We had everything. And he really liked me, and I got along with him really well. By the way, he's the absolute boss over there. A lot of people said, "Oh, do you think he really?"
That's for
sure. Let me tell you, I saw things that you don't want to know about. He is the boss. But we had a good relationship, and he doesn't like
You know what I'm curious about? I'm curious if Kim Jong-un, if he wanted a woman, like he just saw a woman and he wanted her,
in this country,
he
you're
just
not
say,
sort of allowed to say it, but I guess you are. You should be allowed to say
bedroom,
it.
and then she would have to go. I wonder if that's if he's the boss. I wonder if that's the case. I know that's wrong, but at the same time, it's like, wow.
Can you imagine? Now, Chairman.
That's like Coming to America.
Well. Can you imagine
anybody that knows that movie? That's like that type of energy.
No,
even
silly.
Standing together, it is the whole concept is ridiculous. She is terrible. She's terrible, but she's getting a free ride. I saw a picture of her on Time Magazine today. She looks like the most beautiful actress ever to live. It was a drawing, and actually,
did I post that?
Like our great First Lady, Melania. She didn't look like Camilla. That's right. But of course, she's a beautiful woman, so we'll leave it at that, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe like I think part of what people in America want to feel excited and inspired about the future. They want to feel like the future is going to be better than the past, and that America is going to do things that are greater than we've done in the past, reach new heights that make you proud to be an American. And excited about the future.
They want the American dream back. They want the American dream back. More important than anything else. It's like you don't have that today because the people they've been just sucked. They see incompetent people running our.
So here it is, right here. This is the Time Magazine cover they're talking about.
Found him to be incompetent, and when I debated,
it says right there, her moment. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Yeah,
she's going to lose. She's going to lose. They're not going to be able to steal it. Not with the amount of poll watchers that are coming out now, and now they know about all the Dominion voting machines, how corrupt those are. Fuck, man. And then what was it? Virginia, the governor of Virginia just came out and said that he's not going to allow electronic ballots anymore, like scanning of electronic ballots. They're all paper ballots now, and that's how they're going to count them. Fuck, they just lost Virginia.
Great progress in Vegas doing that, and and just do things that are exciting and inspiring and make the future feel like it's better than the past.
Well, I saw what you did in Vegas, and I'll tell you, it was amazing. I got to see. I took a big glimpse at it, and it's incredible. It's incredible, and you could do that all over. It's deep.
Yeah.
You don't even need much structure, assuming you're in the right area.
No, it's straightforward.
It's amazing.
So I think we could do some things that like China's got incredible high-speed rail between its cities, but I think it's actually possible with tunnels if with deregulation, with an ability to actually where it's like legal to actually do the tunnels. Then you could have high-speed tunnels that are actually better than anything else in the world for high-speed transport between cities, and that would be something that Americans can say, wow, okay, we've got something that's cooler than anyone else in the world. That's the kind of thing that makes you proud to be an American.
And much safer than surface trains where there is a danger there, with crazy people. It's much safer.
And incompetent ones. I've seen way too many videos of people getting clipped by trains.
I find it fascinating.
Not run over, but clipped.
I've seen the systems and how they work, and the bullet trains.
They're dead, definitely, but damn, dude.
Unbelievably fast, unbelievably comfortable, with no problems. And we don't have anything like that in this country, not even close. And it doesn't make sense that we don't. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I think also there's, I'm kind of hopping on the excess regulation, but I think something that I think people can generally understand is that what happens with laws and regulations is that there's more and more.
See, right now, Tim Pool just said that on a scale from 1 to 10, how would you rate Trump's performance right now? Tim Pool said 7. Well, it's because Trump is always on point. He's a great messenger. He always stays on point, no matter what. He says a lot of the same stuff in regarding to like his decisions and what policies he wants to put forward is because he wants to hammer it home that that's my message. He doesn't try to stray away from that too often.
To the lowest number ever.
Which is good. I mean, in order to remember something, it's repetition, repetition, repetition.
That people can't even believe the speed. But I I took them on. I don't think they like me too much, but
and that's why, like, if you ask any Trump supporter right now, like, what is Trump's major policy positions? They can tell you right off the bat.
It's a very bureaucratic group. Actually, it's a fine group of people in many cases. I got to know a lot of them, but I was pushing them really hard.
Elon Prince, CEO.
There's so many different things.
Oh, are you talking about the Fresh and Fit?
Really pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But the FDA.
Are you checking out their live stream? I saw that earlier that they were streaming it too.
Approved. I got it down to 4. And I got some things done very quickly, but it's really something that is going to have to be worked on because it takes too long. Just takes too long.
Yeah, it just takes too long, and it's you end up in the same with the approval, but it's just it takes years instead of something that I think could potentially take months, and that improves people's lives.
Yeah.
I think I just wanted to sort of hop on this point that like there has to be an active process for reducing.
Let's take a look at some of the comments that people are leaving.
Just keep building up every year, and you get like hardening of the arteries, and eventually everything's illegal or takes forever.
I couldn't believe it that it was hit with a DDoS attack. Coincidence? I don't think so.
As a society. Come on. We can't make any progress.
Mega accounts under 100K. Drop your handles. Let's make America great again. Retweet, grow.
Right to try.
All right, why not?
Where you can go in and if you're terminally ill, you can use a space age, medicine or whatever it may be. We have the best doctors, the best labs in the world. We really do. But people would go to other countries because you couldn't use the product, even if they thought it worked, because it's going through the FDA. I got it approved where you can, you basically, look, nobody wanted, the doctors didn't want it because of the liability. The country didn't want it, our country, because they didn't want to get sued. These are people terminally ill. The insurance companies didn't want it and the pharmaceutical companies, nobody wanted it. I got everybody into a room and we came up with an agreement that you won't get sued.
Damn right.
And also, they didn't want it on their record. If somebody's terminally ill and they die after taking a drug, they didn't want that on their record. So we set a separate list if somebody was, so it wouldn't count as a negative.
She's less than incompetent, dude.
We got it done.
She's a puppet. There's nothing going on in here.
Trying to get this done.
Nothing going on in her head.
58 years, and it sounds simple, but it wasn't because the
Never
insurance
forget Joe
companies, nobody
Biden
wanted
words.
it. But
It's time to put Trump in the bullseye.
Document that you're
that was very poorly timed. That was very poorly timed by him. He said it like what? Like a day or 2 days or something like that before the assassination attempt? That's bad.
You don't have to travel to Asia. People, if they had money, they go to Asia, they go to Europe. If they don't have money, they go home and die. That's what happened. They'd go home and die.
He's talking about right to try right now.
Well, I mean, and actually, to give Europe some props here, it's like if a drug is approved in Europe, which
Agenda 47, war on cartels, close the border, ending veteran homelessness, revolutionize higher education, 10 principles for great schools, lower cost of energy,
we did it.
electricity, energy independence, returning production of essential medicines back to the U.S. Dude, damn, dude. You know how much that would drop prices?
But you're right. Some people go to Europe because a drug isn't approved here.
That would drop prices immensely. A lot of people think that's going to higher prices because Americans are going to be the ones making them. But you got to remember that if America's manufacturing this shit, they're going to be sending that stuff out to all other countries as well, which is going to bring in revenue, which will drop prices because there's such a demand for it. Same thing with drilling for oil. Drill, baby, drill. Basic economy, man.
You got a lot of people listening. I hope you don't get nervous because you got a lot of people listening to you right now, like 60 million or something. What is that number? It's crazy. It's amazing how you can see that right away. What is the number? Wow.
Drain the Swamp used to be number 1. They're so entrenched, dude. Like, it's, the swamp is
I think in terms of people
that's bigger than you
like
said.
We're thinking that it's the water. It's not even the creatures in the water. It's not the water itself. It's everything.
And I guess over a period of time,
it's like what you think of a swamp. It's all encompassing. It's like let's drain the swamp. You can't do it. It's the swamp itself. That's the problem. Like they're so entrenched. It's insane.
Few days.
Like it's everybody. You ever seen the movie Shooter with Mark Wahlberg?
Good. Well, look, it's an honor.
Where they talk about it's so corrupt that they're covering for each other because they're so scared of each other because they all have dirt on each other. So if one person betrays the principles of the corrupted system, then they throw that person under the bus. That's what they did with Biden.
They also feel very unsafe. You look at
he didn't even betray them. He just failed them. He failed them, and they kicked his ass out.
Colleges over. I mean, it's ridiculous, but all of the recipe. They just feel unsafe. And now they really feel unsafe because you have a new form of crime.
Military take on big pharma, fair reciprocal trade, lower inflation, trying to end drug addiction. Dude, that's a huge one. I hear trying to end drug addiction. If that happens, fuck, bro. The price of drugs is gonna be fucking pennies on the dollar if that happens. God damn, you know how many people in fucking Newport Beach, where I live, are on fucking Adderall?
Just walking around the streets in New York.
It's staggering amount, dude. Staggering.
What
like you can't stock that shit fast enough.
They got away. Like and they just know
they always get away.
Nothing's gonna. And they don't even bother reporting it because
outlawing anchor babies. Oh fuck yeah, dude. Come on, man.
People are not gonna get prosecuted. They just
deregulation. I wish.
In New York.
Drain the swamp is on there. You see that, dude? It's what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth from the bottom. Drain the swamp is right there. He hasn't talked about it here, but it's on his agenda.
And meanwhile, the New York.
Crooked Kamala has a ring to it, like Crooked Hillary. Oh yeah. Definitely. She's a part of it. I don't think she's running anything, though. I think Hillary's definitely got a seat at the table. Kamala, she's not even invited to the fucking meeting, dude. She's a puppet. She's told what to do. She's like Biden. Biden was never invited to the meeting.
And it should be
Hillary has a spot. Obama probably has a spot.
About who should be president, as opposed to some legal case.
Once they start this precedent, because this can go on with the next one. I mean, this is a very bad precedent what they're doing.
They already did it.
In terms of going after their political opponent.
It's over now. They set the precedent.
Going after their political opponent, and then you get a judge who's.
But it's a bad precedent. Like we shouldn't go down this rabbit hole of prosecuting presidents, or else fuck, dude. Like the whole justice system is shit after that. Especially what they did to Trump, creating laws, extending laws, evolving laws in order to prosecute him. It's fucking insane.
The other way, though, because it could start the other way in areas where they hate Democrats, and you get into a Pandora's box. It's a very dangerous thing for this country, and a very dangerous thing even for the state. New York City is losing.
That's exactly right. Trump is right.
Lose a lot of business over what they did to me, because these people say, we don't want that to happen to us. That's no justice system. You have an unfair system of justice, and it's costing New York State a tremendous amount of money. People are leaving and companies are leaving, and they won't come back. So, all of that stuff is important. But
yeah, a huge developer in New York said that he's not longer doing business with New York. He was going to move it to, I forget where.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity.
Right.
I'm not sure if he said Montana or Texas.
And I just want to congratulate you. You've done an amazing job. You have definitely got a fertile mind. We can talk. You and I can
negotiating ends to the wars. This is what will get him assassinated right here. New York is done. Oh fuck yeah, dude! They haven't felt it yet, but fuck, they're gonna feel the sting really soon.
That's gonna be another beauty, I'll say.
With all the New York is the new Venezuela. Like they haven't felt it yet, but it's gonna hit them in a year or so.
I mean, thank you, and I just say here, here's to an exciting, inspiring future that people can look forward to and be optimistic and excited about what happens next. And that's the kind of future that I think you will bring as president, and that's why I endorse you.
Well, I appreciate that. That endorsement.
Don't let it be over.
Not all endorsements mean that much, to be honest. Your endorsement meant a lot. And, we have a phrase, make America great again. It's pretty simple, but it really says that we want to make America great again. And we can do it. We can do it now. But if we were going to suffer another 4 years like we've suffered for the last 4 years, I'm not sure the country can ever come back. That's how bad it is. It's so bad. We have to do a lot of things.
I think that's a very real risk.
Yeah, it's a big risk.
It's a very real risk.
Yep.
And it's, I'd just like to note to people listening, like I've not been very political before. And if you look at my record, I've actually been, I'm not like, sometimes they try to paint me as like a far right guy, which is absurd because I'm like making electric vehicles and solar and batteries, helping with the environment, and I actually I supported Obama. I stood in line for 6 hours to shake Obama's hand when he was running for president. And
all
so it's not
true.
like I'm like
Fact
some
check
sort of
true.
dyed-in-the-wool long-term Republican. I'd call myself, historically a moderate Democrat, but now I feel like we're really at a critical juncture for the country, and I think a lot of people thought the Biden administration would be a moderate administration, but it's not, and obviously we were just going to see
They're all fools. Elon, you were a fool too once.
Left,
sorry to say, but it was true.
Administration with Kamala. That's my honest opinion. I mean, her dad is literally. She was brought up as an actual. Her dad is a Marxist economist.
Not worse than what Vance did and said. Yeah, he said some pretty outlandish shit. I saw those old interviews. So, he said some crazy shit.
And we want to have a future that is prosperous.
But hey, he's sticking to his guns, man, about the things that he said about Kamala and like the old cat ladies and shit like that. I respect him for sticking to his guns on that. And he admits he was wrong about Trump. Whether he's lying or whatever, he's just trying to gain favor. Still, I like that he's sticking to his guns on that comment he made about the cat ladies, because it's absolutely true. People that don't have a stake in the future should not be making policy decisions.
But I'm just trying
and I know, Jordan, you're with me on this one, to where I don't think women should hold any positions of power. I'm
just trying to point out that my track record historically
has
been moderate.
Whatever they're saying is like fucking null and void.
So this is to people out there who are in the moderate camp to say, I think you should support Donald Trump for president.
There you go.
And I think it's actually a very important junction in the road, and we're in deep trouble if it goes the other way.
Well, I want to thank you, and I actually always did think of you as somewhat left. I must say that. So it's
of course not. Yeah, dude. No women should hold positions of power. I know how strong
you feel about it.
Sorry to say,
but, when you think of her,
their mindset don't allow for it, man. It invites chaos.
Bob Tish, he said it's the greatest city in America, and now it's almost not livable there. And California likewise. And she was involved in the destruction of San Francisco and the destruction of California. And she will be involved in the destruction of our country if people are so unwise as to elect her. And I hope that doesn't happen. And I hope the elections are going to be run honestly. And we're going to turn this country around. I
haven't heard that one yet. That's a good one.
We can do it fairly quickly, and we have to get rid of the criminals that have been, given to us by other countries.
That's a double entendre.
They laugh at us. They think
that's a double entendre name right there.
These are radical, stone cold killers in many cases, and terrorists. And they're
it's both an insult and an invitation.
Thousands. Yeah, and we have to take them out.
Yeah, I mean, if I could summarize it, perhaps, I think. These are issues that I think most people in America would agree with, which is that we want safe and clean cities, we want secure borders, we want sensible government spending, we want to restore both the perception and reality of respect in the judicial system, just stop the lawfare, and I think that's like, and how are those even right-wing positions? I think those are that's just common sense, and that's I mean, would you agree with that?
100%. I don't understand. The whole.
It's seen as a foreign concept now because of the verbiage change. They're trying to change words. It's 1984, man.
I don't understand how somebody could say that it's okay.
As soon as you try to change the verbiage, then like everything becomes obscure.
I told you their crime rates all over the world are going way down, which makes sense. In fact, the next time what we'll do is, if something happens with this election, which would be a horror show, we'll meet the next time in Venezuela, because it'll be a far safer place to meet than our country, okay? So you and I will go, and we'll have a meeting and dinner in Venezuela, because that's what's
LDEI,
Their crime rate's coming down, and our crime rate's
DEI are the worst thing to happen to any organization in American history.
Because these people have come into our country, and they're just
unqualified
and they don't know about being politically correct.
Think that they got an inside scoop to like a position that they're unqualified for, and they fuck up and they fail upwards because of their skin color or their personal identity. It's ridiculous.
Absolutely, and it's obviously demoralizing if you're a police officer risking your life to arrest violent criminals who could kill you and do kill you sometimes, and then you arrest the violent criminal, and then the DA doesn't prosecute and that's let the guy out. Well, then, like, why should a police officer risk their life to arrest a violent felon?
Well, even worse, Elon,
if nothing's going to happen.
Even worse, they prosecute the police officer.
That's right.
They go after it and they prosecute the police officer and they take
I'm surprised they didn't.
pension.
Well, they ruled it. They ruled it a good shooting against the girl against what was her name? Something Bryant, Michaela Bryant, I think, that was trying to stab her, like her cousin or something.
When
that cop came out and like a second flash, boom, blasted her in the back.
Police officers, I think it was in Times Square.
And there was even a photo of it, like a still of that. I'm not sure if anybody saw that, where she was like halfway, like already like on the downswing to stab her cousin or something, and then the cop shot her in the back.
That
was a clean shooting
against the United States, and that's how. I mean, this is insane. Like, have we lost all pride? How can such a thing be allowed to occur?
I've never seen anything. You know, we see where they get shot. It's a very dangerous profession, but it's something they're very proud of, and they want to be able to do their job. But I've seen them get shot. I've seen a lot of things. But I've never seen where these guys are standing in the middle of a big street, everybody watching them, and they're literally boxing, like punching, stand-up fighting, a police officer. There were two of them. And you had about six of these guys, and they're punching the hell out of them. And in their own country, they would be dead if they did that. They'd be shot.
Yes.
They would be shot instantly. And, you know, they come from these countries, and it's taking them a while to realize that we don't do that in this country. But in their own country, if they stood on a street and had a fight with a police officer, they would be shot. There's no political correctness. And it's such a sad, it's such a sad thing to see. And that's the reason you have crime, by the way, because we don't do anything about it.
Yeah, the case I brought up with Bryant, that was the one where LeBron James stupidly said, "They're just playing, they're just playing."
You know, a gang of illegal immigrants, and then nothing happens to the guys that beat up the cops. I mean, and they're let out. This is unacceptable.
Well, we're going to change it, and we're going to get them out of the country. You know, when I first got involved, they said you couldn't get them back to these countries. You couldn't take them back. In the case of Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, some others, you couldn't get them back. And I said, really? Oh, you can't get them back? Because under Obama, he couldn't get them back. They'd fly them in, and they'd put planes on the runways in these countries so you couldn't land a plane. They'd bring them back. And the generals told me, sir, we can't bring them back. The countries won't accept MS-13 gang members. They won't accept them. And I said, really, how much
shut
do
up
we
and
pay
dribble?
these
Yeah,
countries
exactly.
in terms
LeBron's
of
such a
economic
fake.
aid, which is also somewhat
He's a virtue
ridiculous.
signaling
And the answer
doofus.
was $750 million. I said, good. Tell them they're in default. They're delinquent. We're not paying them anymore because they won't accept it. And you know what happened? They all called me, every one of them. They said, we would be honored to take them back, sir. We would be honored. It was so easy. But it's one of those things. And we got them back.
We were honored. We love them.
You know, MS-13 is probably the worst gangs in the world. They're the most vicious, violent. We took them out of here by the thousands and got them out of here. And their countries took them back. And because I said, you're not getting any more economic aid. And once I said that, they were nice. They wouldn't take them back for Obama. They wouldn't take them back for anybody. And now we have a problem because we have this guy and they...
You know, in essence, we have Ukraine and Israel by the balls when it comes to economic aid. We can pretty much tell them exactly what we want them to do, and they better fucking do it.
We just can't have, whether they're citizens or not citizens, we can't have...
So with Trump behind the helm, he has the leverage on that.
Not just illegals. So
hopefully he uses it once he gets into office.
You can't have violent, repeat violent offenders that are not that don't get incarcerated.
That's right.
Because they will obviously, by definition, continue to hurt people. And I think where part of this comes from is that there's I do sort of consider myself liberal in some ways. I mean, it's just that you want to have empathy for people. Obviously, you want to have empathy for people. I totally agree with that. You want to have empathy, but you also have to have empathy for the victims of the criminals. And if you just have empathy for the criminals, it's actually shallow empathy. It's not real.
They tried to assassinate Trump on Saturday night. There were no riots, no looting, no buildings burned, just tens of millions of Americans who will not forget November 5th.
Who are they going to
That's exactly right, man.
hurt? They might
when something happens to the right, they don't go crazy and destroy their own neighborhoods because they know that's a fucking dumbass, retarded response.
And there's a lack of empathy for the victims of the criminals, and too much empathy for the criminals. It doesn't make sense. That's why you want to have deep empathy.
15 wars, 0 assassination attempts.
Not shallow empathy for
0 wars, 1 assassination attempt. I love the Rambo tie around the head. That's awesome.
And we have to let them do their job. They can do a great job, but we have to let them do their job. And if we don't do that, it's going to all disappear. There's never been a society like this where you're allowed to do anything you want and
only be
nothing
good
happens.
to good
and
people.
I'm talking about violent crime.
Yeah, I agree
and
with that.
And it's going to get more violent because these are really, really violent people. And we're going to get them out of our country, and we're going to get them back to where, because they were sent here by the president.
This will be a two-peat for me.
People that run those countries.
Two-peat.
I know every one of those guys. And
third time, people. I didn't support them back in 2016. Really bad on me. I was a dumbass back then. I was swallowing the Kool-Aid hard.
Stupid people, and they happen to be right. But when I was there,
but 2020, 2024, I'm a two-peater. What about you, Durden? How many votes for Trump have you casted for, including the one coming
up?
They
actually gave them a big increase in aid. They raised it up to billions of dollars, and they get nothing for it. So
the assassin blue pill rage. Yeah, he did.
Everybody's going to vote for Trump, and we're going to get.
That's why he missed, dude. He was crying while he was taking the shot.
I'm like, I didn't need this. I had a very nice life. I didn't need to go weak
beta male pussy crying. That's why he missed the shot. I
have to run. I have to go through fake trials with, in some cases, corrupt judges, totally corrupt judges. I didn't need it. I had a nice life. I have great locations. I have beautiful oceans that I have places. But I felt it was important. And if I had to do it over again, you probably think I'm crazy for doing it, actually.
This is the best post I've seen today. Elected,
done it over again
selected.
This is so
That's
much
exactly
more
right.
important than me or my life. We're going to save this country. This country is going down, and these people are bad people that we're running against, and they're liars. They make statements. They do things that are so bad. They say they're going to make a strong border. They say they've been great on the border, and they've been the worst in history. They say they're going to stop crime.
Like, the facts speak for themselves.
It's so incredible.
Speak for themselves. Like it's got to the point where people just don't even bother reporting crime in a lot of cities because they know nothing is going to happen. That's what I hear anecdotally from people all the time. So it's just my values. I'm just saying to people.
You were in New York like a retard.
The future is like we've got to have safe cities.
Man, I'm not any better.
We've got to have.
I'm in California right now.
And we've got to have deregulation, and so we can have a prosperous future. And then we want to have some exciting, sort of moonshot projects that
a guy was just killed.
Fired up about. And,
that's the courtyard that's next to mine. He was just killed during July 4th.
But I'm not against.
They broke into his apartment and shot him dead.
We should vilify the oil and gas industry because they're
I talked to one of my neighbors, and apparently, everybody in our courtyard, in the apartment courtyard right here, are all carrying. So anybody wanting to start some shit, they're gonna get fucking rolled if they come in here, man. I got I got my 1911 and my Mossberg. You ain't getting out alive if you try to come into my place unannounced.
President,
Well, I appreciate it. We're gonna give incentive to companies to come into our country, not to leave our country. We're gonna be giving tremendous incentives. We want companies to build here, not to build in other locations, and we want to create jobs. And again, it's about the American dream. You don't hear about the American dream anymore, Elon. You don't hear. You're the American dream in the truest sense. But you don't hear about the American dream anymore, and you're going to hear about it. People, they need that incentive to go out and do it, and they're going to love their lives. I mean, they're going to look forward to getting up in the morning and going to a job that they love, not a job that they can't stand, or not any job at all where they have no money, where they literally have no money, and then they end up with violence and lots of other problems. No, we're going to do some great things, and I learned a lot in the first. We had a great economy and all of that. We rebuilt the military. We did so much, but I also learned. The
trespass and see what happens. Sign on the fence.
People, the dumb people, the people that can do things. The people, you learn. when I first came in, I tell people
what I want to do is I want to get
Washington,
a huge, like,
a
blow up
17
canvas
times, according to the fake news media.
of Trump during the day with the fist raised in the air.
I never stayed over.
I want to get that,
and you don't know people. You
post it on the
rely on
canvas,
other
and then
people to give you
hang
names,
it
and then you
outside because I'm on the
realize
second
people you
floor.
relied on
Hang it off my
weren't
balcony.
too good. Now, we had great
Get everybody,
people, but we
whoever
also had
doesn't
some
support,
where I
fucking
wouldn't
all
have,
pissed off.
used them had I
Try
known.
to
Now I
try
know
to fucking
everybody.
tell me shit.
And
I'll
think
answer
we're
the door with
gonna,
my
we're gonna
Mossberg
really turn
and see how
things around
fucking brave
fast.
you are.
We have no choice, otherwise we're not going to have
It's
a
not
country.
good
And
for close up.
I really
That close up
appreciate
when
this.
I'm
Has
answering the
been-
door,
to
but I
me,
got
it's
my
been a lot of
blades
fun
too,
being with
and I'm
you. You're
expert with
an
blades.
amazing
So
guy. You've done an incredible job, and a
it
great
ain't gonna be good for you.
inspiration to
You're trying to
people.
start shit.
A great inspiration, and I hope you keep going and just continue to do well. And we're going to have a big election coming up, and I think November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country. I think that election will be the most important election, and I think it'll end up being maybe the most important day in the history of our country, because if we don't win, I just feel so sorry for everybody.
No, I think we're at a fork in the road of destiny of civilization, and
I mean, even
and I think
Elon
we
is
need to
saying this
take
shit, man.
the right path, and I think you're the right path. So I think that's what it comes down to.
Thank you very much, Elon. It's a great honor.
I mean,
and
every election
we'll
they
do it
always
again
say it is the most
sometime,
important
and,
one, but fuck,
it's
man.
been really fun, and I hope
I think
you got a
it'll
lot
be
of
the most
viewers. I
important
hear you
one
got a
for what
lot.
happens afterwards.
I hope
Sure,
you got a
yeah.
So if Harris
I know you
wins
got
and
a lot of them.
afterwards it's gonna be fucking
So, I
terrible,
appreciate
like
it. I'll see you soon.
might even get into Civil War
All right,
territory
sounds good.
talks
Thank
and
you.
stuff like that.
Thank you,
That's what
Elon.
will make
Thank
it
you very much.
historic.
Bye.
If Trump wins and then we go into, like, prosperity, that will make it historic. No, they end it? Yeah. All right, that was the whole interview, man. They ended it right there. Yep, here it is. Yeah, they stopped it. I'm gonna keep going through these. I want to read these a little bit more. I don't think there's too much left. This had me cracking up at the end, though. That's awesome. Should Elon Musk interview crazy Kamala too? Oh, hell yeah. I want to see that. I want to see her fucking destroy her and see her stumble over her words. Can't wait to hear about who was responsible for the DDoS attack. Yeah. I miss Trump's Twitter. Well, he tweeted today. Who knows? He might be back on it. I know he posts mainly on Truth Social, but he might post on Twitter as well. 66 million. Wow, 66 million views. I bet Kamala's not laughing now. Man, that bitch is a cackling hyena. She's laughing. She's like the Joker, dude. She doesn't know when not to laugh. It's like a condition. Too big to rig? No. It could be rigged. It could be rigged. We found that out in 2020. Too big to rig 2024? Dude. Like, did anybody see what happened with Georgia? The forensic auditing that they did with their voting machines? They found out that they, 2.7 million Trump's votes were not counted, and like 122,000 were switched from Trump to Biden? Fuck, dude. If they use machines, they just need a program or a switch or something, and they can just switch the votes. They could just read them as for Biden. They came out and said, oh, I'm sorry, our voting machines were programmed to rig the election. It's like, what the fuck? So it was automated? They don't even have to work. They just automated it. Come on, man. Yeah, they can rig it if they want. That's why Virginia is going to paper ballots now. But you best believe in a lot of these blue areas that they're not going to be going with that shit. They're going to call it something stupid like discriminatory or racist or some shit like that. Well, migrants can't use paper ballots because, the paper, it reminds them back in the old times. We're in the new age. We're excluding them from, the new age. I bet that's what they would go with if they try to push paper ballots. Nick Fuentes would disagree with can't be bought. You mean Trump? Can't be bought? I don't think they could buy Trump. Not even Elon. They can't buy Elon. Yeah, I don't think they can buy Trump. They can't buy Elon either. Hated for exposing the truth. Hated for letting truth be told. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you just saw it with that Kamala Waltz post on their HQ website. The two most despicable men talking right now. Shit. And these are the ones fighting for freedom. Trump's had damn boys rhetoric. That's his only L. Yeah. I mean, he wanted to go down the middle of the road, not be as hard as he was back in 2016. I think for a lot of true Trump, hardcore Trumpers, yeah, that probably put a thorn in their side, definitely. But I understand why he's doing it. I mean, that's why he's saying he's not going to ban the abortion pill. He's going to let the states decide, which is how it should be. Yeah, let the states decide. You want to, live in a state to where abortion's legal and it's against Christian values and God and everything like that? Okay, but I ain't living there. Fuck that. That's what a lot of people would say. But a lot of people don't have the means to move right now, man. Everything's so fucking expensive. Shit, just taking a trip across the state line would drain your bank account. Make sure to share this Elon Musk Donald Trump interview with everyone you know. Oh, I did that already. Yeah, I already set that shit out. Well, if that's the case, you don't know your history. Hearing Trump discuss him being shot with Elon is surreal. It's so hard to comprehend that this happened in America. It's happened several times already. Yeah, you gotta read more up on history, buddy. Never forget Joe Biden's words. Oh yeah, I think I already read that. You need to move to south to Texas. I don't know, man. I hear that Texas doesn't like Californians that they see your bumper sticker and they're like, "Get out, get the fuck out, man. We know you came from California. Get out." American children, American dreamers first. Close the border. We're always talking about dreamers from other countries. I want the children of the United States to have dreams also. President Trump. Hell yeah, man. But yeah, I was thinking about moving to Idaho a few years ago. That was just off the brow thinking. But yeah, I would not mind moving to Texas. I mean, Texas is essentially its own little mini country in actuality. If anything ever got really bad, Texas would definitely succeed from the Union. I know that. I think they even tried to put forth a proposal for that during the whole COVID thing. Accuse your opponent of what you were doing. Democrats Playbook 101. We know who the racists are. Well, all you gotta do is look at their damn history, man, and you'll know that for sure. Who is this? Is this Herschel Walker? Okay. I take that as a personal insult. What people would think I've had a 37-year friendship with a racist. Growing up in the Deep South, I've seen racism up close. I know what it is, and it isn't Donald Trump. It's so crazy, man. I mean, they even accuse black people of being white supremacists, which is insane. Kimberly Clark. I don't know what to make of that girl. Kimberly Clark, please declare English the official language in America. That isn't the official language in America? What are we, Canada? Get the fuck out of here. The border should be completely closed until immigration judges are caught up on processing. All American citizens should qualify for subsidies, public assistance. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. If you're supporting Donald Trump, I want to follow you. Thanks a lot. Give you a like. Kamala right now. This is exactly what's going on. If you can't see that, there it is. No tax on tips. She's over there cheating. Dude, I couldn't believe that when I saw that rally. Trump has been saying this for the last month and a half. that he wants no tax on tips, and then Kamala came out of nowhere and said the same fucking thing at the Vegas rally. I was like, what the hell, man? She's stealing it right out in the open because nobody on that side gives a flying fuck enough to pay attention. It's unreal, bro. And then you'll ask one of these dipshits, hey, like, Trump says no tax on tips. What do you think about that? Oh, I think that's just a way to garner popularity. He doesn't really give a shit about them. Okay, well, Kamala said the same thing. What do you think about that? Well, she really cares about them, and she's Democrat, so, you know, they're for the people, and I think it's great. It's like, you fucking dumbass. Dude, this has got a... this right here is... this is going to be saved in history. Like, I don't know how it's going to be saved as, but, yeah, it's going to be saved. And then that one picture of Trump raising the fist with the Secret Service lady, like, kind of ducking into his stomach, that is definitely going to be a statue someday. One time she has visited the border, one time during her adventure as VP, once. Oh, she's definitely a failure. Yeah, no, it's not this one, but might as well make it that one too. Dude, like every leader in the world wishes that they had this picture. They wish this could have happened to them, to like, you know, and that they would have reacted like this. Every leader is jealous of Donald Trump because of this picture. I'm telling you that right now. You know, President Xi, Putin, Kim Jong-un, they're all jealous of Trump for that photo. I was on YouTube waiting for a stream of the interview right before it was supposed to start. YouTube deleted the account that was going to stream it. They are running scared. I heard a report, I don't even know if this is true, of Elon buying YouTube. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, that would be awesome, but I don't want to go ahead and toot that horn just yet. Ladies, we got this. It's carrying him home. Women for Trump. Dude, I would bone down and impregnate every one of these. Yeah. Mostly. Every one of these chicks. That's women for Trump. And if they deem themselves worthy, then, you know, I put a ring on it. Outside the courts, of course. Venezuela and Africa emptying their prisons and dumping the inmates in Texas through Kamala's open southern border. I believe it. Look at that shit, man. Look how many people there is. And they got fucking cell phones and you know, listening devices and shit. It's ridiculous. Vote her ass out August 13th, open primary. Man, if I was in her state, I'd definitely be voting her ass out. Working on shutting it down. Worst case, we will proceed with a smaller number of live listeners and post the conversation later. Shit, people would have waited up all night for this interview, man. There was no risk of losing listeners. History is being made. Fire. 114,000. Dude, by the time I saw it, I think it was up to 800 and something thousand that was in there. I think it even crossed 1 million listeners on that account. I don't even know what it was at the end. I should have looked that up. Anyone else not able to listen? Trump, you are killing it. Thanks for all your efforts in saving America. You're a great American, a great man, a great president. We love you in the U.S. Behind you. We are loyal to you because you are loyal to us. Yep. Oh, no. What is this? This is kind of funny. If this was real, I would assume that the mainstream media would say, "Look at Trump pathetically trying to connect with the youth." They would try to insult this by saying it was a sad attempt. If Trump was moving like this, fuck, dude. You know how many new supporters he would get? 58.3 million views so far. This was an hour ago. Holy shit. Yeah, this definitely broke X. Well, they didn't break it. It was an attack, but yeah, they essentially did. All right, I think that's enough for now. All right, thanks, Darren, for tuning in, man. Always good to have you on. I'm going to go ahead and kick it off right now. I'm going to start doing these more and more often, dude, regarding the election and other shit that I see going on, especially in the Twitter space. Because that's the one I can actually stream off of. If you try to stream off of any other platform, except for Rumble. Rumble will allow it. Not for YouTube, though. They'll kill it like immediately. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. I'll try to, let me see. I'll come up with a plan, and then I'll stream probably on, not Wednesday. I have something on Wednesday. Either tomorrow or Thursday. I'll go ahead and stream again. All right. With that being said, you guys have a good night. Take care of yourselves. Protect yourselves.